wonderful White House, as we live, and the hotel's out front. But it fell on the PLP's anniversary. Now, some people may say, oh, go on, Steve. What do you make of it? That's significant. Let me just set the tone for you. It's significant. You may not want to believe it. But see, it's also backed up by spiritual prophecy. That's what I'm saying. By one eagle eye bishop just recently, who predicted that a lot of things are going to take place after the PLP celebrated 3 years. You say not significant. I'll show you why it is. And I believe it is significant. So the hotel just all of a sudden just collapsed. Bam! The whole street was closed on Blue Hill Road because no cars could have passed. You understand? Significant. Then, of course, this whole building is where Lyndon Oscar Pinling, before he became Sir, he and all of them were there in the top floor of that hotel, the Rhines Hart Hotel, to have their conventions and whatnot in the days leading up to the great conventions of the PLP back in the day. Significant, it is. But it fell. On top of that, when it fell, it symbolizes, if you believe these things happen, something that is paramount in the PLP organization. First and foremost, in 40 plus long years, they, like others, have been there and done nothing in this country. So it's significant, even for all of those persons out there who believe in prophecy. It's significant. You follow? And they're saying now that maybe time has caught up with them. And the same eagle-eyed bishop was the one who said, yes, there's going to be change of government. He said that as well on September the 14th. Hello. These are significant things. He said it on September the 14th before the 16th came. You understand what I'm saying now, right? He said they will have serious problems rebounding in this particular administration right now because our God is angry about many things because we are complete in corruption. We've been saying it for a long time. We're complete in corruption. There's nothing that we can do that's significant enough for us to say, well, we are okay, we're not corrupt. No, sir. We are in a corrupt place at this particular time. So the building fell on the day that the PLP had the anniversary. And for a lot of people, that means something, whether you like it or not. And mark it, because when the bishop spoke, he spoke this prior to the whole thing happening. How did he know? He couldn't know that. You think he could know that the Rhinestone Hotel is going to just erupt and just collapse? Please. Significant. But that ain't all we're going to be talking about today. we got to talk about the whole crazy stuff about all of these standard shift vehicles that we have brought into our country to be ambulances on the streets. I made a joke yesterday and I said, people are saying, well, who's going to drive them? Can we have people who can drive the stick shift, balance on the hill, pull the hill, going over Family Garden Hill or Blue Hill Road Hill? Hey, Blue Hill Road, my goodness, Blue Hill Road. That's again, Blue Hill Road. Coming up the hill, can they pull the hill? Can they balance on the hill? Sounds like Blue Hill Road is a part of this fixture. The Einstein blew down on Blue Hill Road a couple of days ago. Mm-hmm. Now Blue Hill Road, we're wondering if they're going to be able to get over the hill on Blue Hill Road. My Lord. Anyway, that's all I got to say for those of you who want doubt and don't believe. We'll see how it works out. We're talking today with Dr. Veronica McIver. She is here because she's also going to be talking about the hospital. That's another thing that's a gray area for us in the country. We're building a hospital, they say. And we have the ambulance to go with it. So there, that proved that. that proves something. So you take that, you buy it. We got the ambulances to go with it. Standard ship ambulance, which in fact was perhaps bought by the Chinese or bought from the Chinese, because the price probably is right. If the thing costs, say, $100, just give or take, say it costs $100, just using a figure. They got it for $10. You follow? Mm-hmm. That's what's happening here. You got to understand what is going on in your country because you don't know. That's why I'm here to tell you. What I say is very important, and they know it. The politicians know what I'm saying is important. You don't have to believe it, but they believe it. And then yesterday, something else happened yesterday. They announced that they're going to make sure that them fellas don't go on Steve McKinney show talking that nonsense, but they're going down to Bay Street to have protests in Rawson Square. That was scheduled for tomorrow. They cut the deal today, and they went down to Bay Street today. The politicians done did that. And now they were able to give them 25 cents extra for the margin. And so you say that's not significant? That's significant. Yeah. You see, all these things are significant. I'm just telling you, I'm only giving you what I know. Please forgive me. So that's been taken care of. And so tomorrow they will not go down to Bay Street. You follow? That's how things work in the Bahamas. That's how it works. In case you all didn't know, that's how it works. But I don't know what's going to work out for the COI because the deputy leader of that party is here with me today. And we're going to be talking about those things. And I welcome you right now to the show. How you doing today, Dr. Veronica McIver?
I'm fine, Steve. How are you?
I'm in good shape.
I'd like to say good evening to everyone who's listening in Radio Land or on Facebook. Hello, everyone.
I don't hear you. 1, 2. Go ahead.
Hi, Steve. How are you? I'm happy to be here with you today. And just like to say good evening to everyone who's in Radio Land and on Facebook. I'm happy to be here. Like you said, we have a lot to talk about. And I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
That was perhaps my fault. That was my fault.
Okay.
Just say it again. Just introduce yourself again.
Hi, Steve. How are you? I'm sorry we were using the wrong mic. I'm doing fine. I'm happy to be here with you today and to speak on some of the subjects. I'd just like to say good evening to everyone in Radio Land and on Facebook. Hello, everyone. So I'm ready to discuss these issues, Steve.
Yes. And I'm happy that you're here because I'm interested in a lot of these things. Let's let's tackle the big thing first. Now, these roads, we got some people there who can drive standard shift, I'm sure.
Mhm.
We got a lot of behemoths who can drive standard shift, men and women. They can drive standard shift. I don't know if they can balance the hill. I don't know how they can be balancing the hill and making the kind of speed that they need to be making to get the people to and from the hospital and that kind of stuff. Why don't we deal with that first? Because what was your pet peeve with this whole matter anyway?
Yeah. Well, you see, with the standard shift, for me, you have to keep moving your arm, especially in Nassau,
Yes.
where you have congested traffic. How many of us have been on the road and the ambulance is trying to navigate along the highway and everybody is taking a little while to pull over? They have to stop and go, stop and go. And anyone who's driven stick shift before, I know how difficult it could be. And so they would have to keep on moving their hand. I believe that would cause them to not be as focused on the road as they should. And it's just not a good thing. Now, somebody made a comment that perhaps it could be acceptable on the family islands where you don't have as much traffic and there's not a lot of stop and go.
Mhm.
So it will probably be okay for that. But let me just, before I begin, let me just commend the government, okay, on getting the ambulances, because we know that this is something that was missing for about 50 years, and people were being driven to the airport in the Family Islands. They would be driven in the back of a truck.
Yes,
Now that
they were.
is definitely not acceptable. Even the minister himself
Yes, I saw
admitted that.
Mhm.
And so finally we got something now. So therefore, something is better than nothing.
Nothing at all. Right.
But
Absolutely.
but we're moving towards first world. So I don't understand why we can't make decisions once and do it right once.
Yes.
Why would you get a stick shift if there are disadvantages to it, especially for Nassau? Also, too, the road will be it's a little jerky when you're doing standard shift.
Yes, I understand.
And
what
if
you're
you
saying.
have a real critical patient
Mhm.
in the back of that ambulance, that jerkiness could cause a problem, especially with the
Understood.
patient. And even if the attendant, the emergency personnel is standing up, it could cause a problem.
Yes,
So I think automatic would have been better. I don't know why they went with the standard shift. Of course, internally the government will have to come clean with us and be more accountable and transparent as to why they went with that system. Steve, another thing I noticed is that they borrowed $1.4 million
Yes, they did.
for the ambulances. 1.4 million. Right. And I said, why would you have to borrow for an ambulance? All this VAT we are paying, all this money we are paying,
Mhm.
why do we have to even borrow for ambulance? It seems like every time I look in the newspaper, the government is borrowing for something.
Yeah.
Everything they're borrowing. So my point was, when VAT was instituted in 2014 or 2015,
Yes. Mhm.
it was to bring down the debt and to pay off some bills. Why are we borrowing every single time?
Because we can, and the people don't make any noise about it, and because the government can get away with it. And I hope if the COI was to ever get there, they don't do such a thing like that.
No.
Borrowing.
No, we got to manage the money more wisely. You see, a lot of money in my opinion, gets wasted and unnecessarily.
Indeed.
And the revenue is not coming in like it should because they have not diversified the economy. And before we even get to the diversification of the economy, if 1.4 million, if you divide that by 15 or 16 ambulances, it comes to like maybe 93,000 per ambulance.
Yes.
So I have no idea where they got the ambulances from. And a lot of people were saying that they didn't even look brand new, even though the minister did say he had challenges acquiring ambulances post-COVID, and that he did not want to get any used ambulances. But they look, some people were saying that they look a bit like the older version. somebody even pointed out the hubcap to me and said that it don't even look with the aluminum that they usually use or something. I'm like, oh my God, say the hubcap doesn't even look right.
Yeah, my goodness.
But they are going to have to also, like you said, train persons to drive stick shift.
Mhm.
And like you say, balancing on that hill is difficult because I was taught how to drive stick shift in my early 20s. And when I saw how difficult it was to balance on the hill,
You say automatic.
I
here I come.
pretty much stop after that. I mean, I did it once or twice,
Mhm.
but it was just too risky for me. And I said, you know what? Let me go
Yeah.
to automatic.
You don't want to roll back into somebody else's car. That's
No.
damage right there.
Yeah,
See,
that's
you know,
right. That's
we
right.
got see what you're talking about now
Mhm.
may seem like a mute point to make people. Well, that could be fixed. That's what people say.
Yeah.
But let them be in a situation like that where you're speeding up and down the road because you're in an ambulance.
Mhm.
You're jerking the people around because you got an emergency and they can't take any sudden jerks and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yes.
These roads are dead bad. I mean,
Really?
these
Yeah.
roads are very, very bad. We didn't know that.
Yes.
You know, there are too many other things that can happen as a result of this whole thing. I say we should have gone and invested. If we need the ambulances, yes, we should invest them. But let's go and get some automatic vehicles
Yes.
so that the thing could be smooth. Not that accidents won't happen in an automatic vehicle.
Yes.
I'm just saying that it could be a more a joy ride, a kind of good, comfortable ride, because you know at least you ain't got this jerking
Right.
around all the time.
Yeah.
So I take your point on that
Yeah.
whole matter. I take your point on that.
And
Mhm.
Steve, another thing I noticed, Dr. Darville made a comment that their ambulance was lasting for about a year to a year and a half.
Yeah, it's
I
terrible.
did some research, and most ambulances would tend to last almost 4.8 years, almost 5 years.
Mhm.
And then they put them into a 3-year pool reserve.
I see. Okay.
So that I guess if one needs to have maintenance, you can pull that one out of the pool reserve. But if our ambulances are lasting a year to a year and a half, you know what that tells me? They're not being maintained properly.
That's what it is.
And I could understand why, because guess what? If you only have a few in your arsenal,
Mhm.
you're gonna have to work that 24 hours a day, 365 days in a year. You even have no downtime for maintenance.
And with
So-
the way things are going around this country, they're working all the time.
Yes, because I think they were down to 4 at one point, which
Mhm.
is really, really low for the Bahamas. Because I had an incident that happened near my property, and the person called me thinking that I can help. They said, we're waiting on an ambulance, but the ambulance isn't coming. The gentleman is gasping for air. And so I say, well, call this person. But that didn't work. So they had to end up calling a private ambulance. And even so, it still took a long
My Lord.
time. So people are panicking. And if you know anything about ambulances, in an ideal situation, Steve, they should be where they're going in about 5 to 6 minutes is ideal.
Yes.
Now, maybe 10 minutes you can push it. But at the rate NASA was going, no, those people, they had to wait about 30 to 40 minutes for the ambulance to arrive. You can't do that.
Let me ask you this question.
can't do
What's
that.
going to happen, let's say, under the COI, if they, in fact, were able to get into power and you become a minister of the COI, and what's going to be your plans? What is your immediate plans anyway, as far as what's going to happen? Because we want to see better health care. We want to see national health care for everybody in this country. We want to see not just the rich people get served. We want to see the poor people too get service and get the best service that we can actually offer. What's going to really happen? Are you going to just dig the whole thing out and just make some things happen,
Well,
big and bad and new?
Well, like anything else, Steve, my portfolio is going to be the Ministry of Health.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's talk about the ambulances. That's a low-hanging fruit for us, or for
Understood.
me.
Mhm.
And so what I plan to do is put ambulances at different outposts. They wouldn't just be in one area. So maybe we could just use some of the clinics as an outpost,
I see.
so that if somebody call out east or out west or north or south, they can get there within 5-10 minutes.
Understood.
So that's a low-hanging fruit for me. So that's something that I will start immediately as soon as I get in the chair.
Mhm.
Now, as for health,
Mhm.
You know, I'm a proponent to, we need a new general hospital.
Okay.
Steve, consultants have come to the Bahamas and they have
Tell
recommended
me about
to
it.
the two mainstream parties, you've got to tear the Princess Margaret Hospital down and build a new hospital. There's no more repair.
You're not going to
So
build right
no,
there
no.
on
So
that
as soon as
spot.
we get in, we're going to be looking for property to build a new hospital. Now, let me get this out of the way first, in case anybody doesn't know. The new hospital that they say they're getting ready to build is not a general hospital. It's not going to meet the needs of the Bahamian people, Steve.
What is it going to do?
It is what we call, it's a specialty hospital. Well, at first I was calling it a glorified clinic. Some people took offense to that, so I said, okay, I would call it is a specialty hospital. Now,
Especially in what way? I
but
mean,
guess what?
they got
It's
to do
only
it.
going to take care of women's health. That's going to be
I
their number
see.
one priority.
I see. Okay.
So delivering of babies,
Mhm.
so therefore they'll have a neonatal unit because the babies will be there. Now, that's the main focus of that hospital.
Mhm.
Are they going to do other things? Yes. They plan to put in some imaging machines in there. I heard they may put the morgue down there. They may have some classes where they can train people. There are one or two other things. Oh, they're going to have maybe a blood bank.
Okay.
But if you look at it, it's not really serving the sick people. Women who go in to have their children, Steve, they're basically healthy women. They go in to have their baby and they come out smiling and they're healthy. We need a hospital for sick people with cancer, people with diabetes, people on dialysis, people who have a fractured leg or arm. The orthopedic clinic, they're not doing any of that down there. So for me, I don't know. I think it's just to appease the Bahamian people and to make them feel as if they're doing something. Because I had the opportunity to speak with a physician at the hospital, and he wasn't even informed. He said, "Oh, I thought they were getting ready to build a
You got to
hospital." I said, "No,
Yeah.
that's a specialty hospital for women's health." And so he didn't even know that. And he was a physician at the hospital. I need Dr. Darvel to come clean with the Bahamian people and stop telling the Bahamian people that, listen, we're getting ready to build a hospital. Yeah, it's a hospital, but listen, be a little bit more transparent.
It's a specialty hospital.
Be a little bit more transparent. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Mhm.
So people can truly and really understand, Steve, what is this is about. So anyway, so
One
I
of
see you
those
got a
things.
phone call coming
Yeah.
through.
Okay. Well, let me just take this phone call and see what's
Okay.
happening. Yeah. Yes, sir. How are you?
Well, good evening, Steve, and to your esteemed guest.
Yes.
You know,
Graham, how are you?
I'm the same, tall, smart, and handsome, but thanks for asking. Steve,
Go ahead.
the new hospital, right? I believe it was Dr. Minnis that said it was being built in some low-lying area. If that is true, why would you do it? Because during a hurricane and any other event that has a lot of rain, you're not going to be able to get to and from your hospital. You remember, the original Bahamas General Hospital was up on the hill by Waterworks.
Yes, I know.
You familiar?
Yes, of course I am.
So we own the property. Why don't we just go in? And it's still standing.
Prospect Ridge is what it's called.
And that's the center of the island. People don't realize Gladstone Road is the center of this island.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't we own the land now, go and put the new facility there? Second, we got a hospital for women and children and more towards that, catering to those persons. So is it open season on Bahamian males? We don't care about them as much. See, we need a world-class facility that's big enough and parking enough for future expansion of the building and cars that have to park there. And to put every apartment there, go multi-floor. But I for the life of me, I can't understand. And why are you putting the maternity somewhere else than where the men will be? So we won't get to see what's really going on as much as we can see it now. We have a lot of people being born in the country. I believe it was Guardian Radio I believe it was one of the talk show hosts. I don't want to call his name. And he said that he researched, and at that time it was 1 in 9 was us. What are the true figures of births at that hospital? And why is it when someone is born, if they're from Canada, they immediately, once they are discharged safely, they go to return to country of origin or embassy of that country of origin and get documents for that citizenship? Why do you run down to our registrar if you're from Canada? See, we got a lot of things that have to be fixed, Steve. But so far I'm enjoying the show because any discussion is better than what I've heard for the last 50 years.
Understood.
Isn't that sad?
Very, very sad. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, Graham. How are you? And congratulations on your ratification on Sunday night. Graham was one of the 19 persons who were ratified. And Graham is right. We need people like him with new ideas to come forth. And persons like him and myself and Mr. Bain and all of us, we are going to make the change that is needed in this Bahamas. And so we need the change. And so you need a new ideas. And so, Graham, don't worry, you will have a chance. You'll have a lot of say in the next government.
That's for sure.
Yes.
Okay, what about some other things? I know that you want to dwell more on this hospital thing, but we're looking at our time here too. But, I want to really get you to talk about some other areas. You're looking at the hospital, we looked at the clinic, not the clinic, the actual ambulance and all that kind of stuff. Do you think that the minister presently is doing a commendable job or a job that's suited at this particular time? And what's really so wrong with what's actually happening right now? Because people have not really been talking so right about Minister Dawit at this particular time. I mean, he had some good moments and a lot of moments that you just don't hear from him. But there are some things that I believe that people want to really say, and I believe that they're just exhausted now. A lot of people are just exhausted that we can't seem to get nothing done, and maybe people have just given up. What are your thoughts?
I agree. People are getting tired of what's going on. Dr. Dawit, I don't like to be combative and I don't like to talk bad, but I feel as if perhaps he's trying his best, but Steve, his best is not good enough for the country at this moment in time. This is a new dispensation. The Bahamian people deserve more and better. And I feel like we're only being offered the crumbs. And unless you have money, you can fly away or go to private hospitals, you're not getting the level of care you deserve. My people deserve a better level of care. And I'm going to make sure that they get it when I get in. So you could trust me on that. I am going to keep that.
Wonderful. It is just that the entire country needs change. I mean, because we've just gone so wrong. I mean, we seem to be so corrupt in many cases. The police force seems to be corrupt. There are attitudes of people who just believe that nothing is happening for that group of people. Everything seems to just be going backward. And I could understand why this man has been saying things like, this is the eagle-eye bishop now talking about how things are looking these days, because he cannot be that impressed either to see that things are just going more regressive than anything else in recent times. And I mean, this is recent times because we're looking at the last 3 years of this particular administration. The people have nothing to really celebrate. The people have nothing really good to talk about. I mean, even Brave Davis has said it himself that they've got a lot of work to do because they know that they have not done enough things. And I thought that this time around, Mr. Fred Mitchell, who is really an erstwhile fellow who's always talking good and trying to get things done for his people in his area, because he's a very good MP. The truth is that he too has been saying things like these guys got to answer the phone calls. they've not been doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they've lost
No.
touch with the people. And that's one of the reasons why
Mhm.
when you hear the summary
Right.
of what the bishop had
Mhm.
said,
Mhm.
it sounds so real, because at the end of the day, he's saying that things are going to get worse
Yes.
before they get better, and
Right.
that the blowing down, well, the crumbling of that hotel, the Rhinestone Hotel, Reinhardt Hotel,
Mhm.
was the biggest thing that actually happened, that just disrupted everything. And I
Right.
can understand what he's talking about. But what are your thoughts along those lines? Because I saw you wrote a
Yeah,
piece
I
on it
did.
as
I
well.
did.
Mhm.
I did. But before I get to that, let me just say the problem with our government, they tend to be reactive rather than proactive. And I think that's going to be the difference between our government and theirs,
Right.
is that we're going to do things before things happen.
Right.
But yes, I did wrote an article, not wrote, but I had an audio sent out this morning on the symbolic nature of that building falling down on Blue Hill Road.
Mhm.
And after I listened to what the prophet said, I did send it out to a few people. Can I just read what some of the things he said? Or you have a
Yeah,
call coming through?
I have your statement, because
Oh.
I don't think a lot of people heard the
Okay,
statement.
well, you
I
can
want to
play
play the
it.
statement
Yeah.
first,
Uh-huh.
and then I'll just go to that
Okay.
particular one.
Okay, no problem.
This is what Dr. Veronica McIver said yesterday or today in a voice note, and I found it very, very interesting. Listen to this.
Good morning, my Bahamian brothers and sisters. Today is September 17th, 2024. This is Dr. Veronica McIver, Deputy Leader of the Coalition of Independence. Yesterday, I got the news that the historic Reinhardt Hotel building on Blue Hill Road was falling apart. I was saddened to hear this, but was grateful to hear that no one was injured. However, do you realize that the collapse of this building was on the same day as the 3rd anniversary of this present PLP winning the election in 2021? And were you aware that the PLP headquarters was in that building? Yes, this iconic building once housed the headquarters and played a vital role in the PLP bringing us through to majority rule. In my humble opinion, this collapse is a strong symbolic message to the PLP that due to your neglect of infrastructural maintenance in this country, along with accountability, transparency, and most of all, corrupt practices, not to mention victimization, over the last 30 to 40 years, you are now self-destructing and literally collapsing from within. The symbolism and irony of it all, and to happen on your anniversary. I am no prophet, but the eagle-eyed prophet in Nassau sent out a message on September 14th, 2024, and he prophesied that there shall be a new government in the Bahamas. Isn't it also coincidental that the day after he said that, the COI installed their first slate of candidates and were ratified for the next general election? Coincidence? I think not. Ponder on the symbolism, my brothers and sisters in the Lord. Anyway, thank you for listening to me today, and blessings to all. And may God be all the glory.
Indeed.
Now,
God be all.
Now,
Yeah.
Steve,
Mhm.
I just opened up his prophecy. It was sort of long, but I'll just read maybe 2 lines of his prophecy.
Sure.
He said, "Thus said the Lord Jesus Christ, chaos shall erupt within the governing party after the 3-year anniversary is celebrated on the 16th day of September 2024. This shall be a sign to the nation that the government they see today shall be no more in the coming months. Now, shall be no more. Then he went on to another sentence. I wouldn't read the rest of it because it's kind of long, but I connected all of the dots.
Okay.
It was just amazing how he came out on the 14th and he had this vision from the Lord. We came out on the 15th and he sort of predicted what will happen on the anniversary. And look what happened. That used to be the headquarters of the PLP, the bastion of the PLP party. So I don't know what decisions were made there, but I feel as if it is a sign to the PLP, just like how that building is collapsing. You are going to collapse the same way. Again, I am not a prophet, but I am saying that I see the symbolism in it.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, a lot of times people use anniversaries, which are special occasions, to make a point. But how would this prophet have known that?
He couldn't have known.
He couldn't have known that, but he was able to foresee that. And he foreshadowed some other things that are going to happen, gloom and doom, which I don't want to get into here this afternoon. But the PLP, they need to get their act together. And I've even heard some PLP trolls tell the PLP, listen, you know, I like y'all, I like my boss, but listen, y'all got to get with it because the people are looking at other things.
The disaster's going to come from within, you see. It's collapsing from within.
Yes. And you know what?
Just like how the building just collapsed.
Just like that.
Nobody could have anticipated that.
No. And it shows that they're not even maintaining these buildings. The infrastructure, if you go all around Nassau, you could just look at from building to building to building. It's not being maintained by the government. I don't know what they're doing with the money. All of this VAT we are paying, and yet the debt still goes up. They may go through 1 or 2 months when the debt may go down, but that's only month to month.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, year to year, the debt is still going up.
No question.
And that's why the COI is going to bring change, needed change to this country, where we're going to diversify the economy with our natural resources. We're going to give the low-hanging fruit. Steve, is land. Land is a natural resource.
Absolutely.
We're going to give all of our adult Bahamians 1 acre of land when we get it. That's a low-hanging fruit. We're going to empower our people. Steve, our people need to be empowered. They're telling them to pull up their boot, you know, with the string. But if you don't have a boot, how could you pull it up?
Absolutely.
You see, so these people need help. And that's what we are going to be doing. So if the PLP don't listen, they're going to feel, Steve, they're going to feel it.
I can believe that. And, you know, a lot of things can be said about that whole thing. I believe that people are right now pondering, what does this mean? Building fell. A lot of the older people, they're looking at that with great significance because a lot of them were around.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them heard about this whole building and all that kind of stuff. And they're thinking that, what if this woman is talking the truth about this whole matter? What if there's symbolism in this whole matter? Could it be the end of this whole situation they known as PLP?
Steve, hold on now. Remember, we are in a new era. We are in a new dispensation in time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go back to Miles Monroe prophecy, Miles Monroe say they cannot wear that armor anymore. And the weapons that used to keep us won't keep us any longer.
That's right, he said that.
And he said that they will come with a new mentality and they will have the Spirit of God upon them. Now, let me say this. I am not a Bible toting person, but I am spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And I revere my God. And I ask him to order my steps. I don't know if it's coincidental or not, but everybody who was ratified yesterday,
yes,
all of them profess to know the Lord, and they pray and they really want change, and they're very spiritually minded.
Mm-hmm.
And so I believe Miles Monroe was correct when he said, and they will have the Spirit of God on them.
Yes.
And
yes.
I can tell you this, Steve, we are like David, and the two mainstream parties are like Goliath. Okay?
Understood.
But the Pinling saw the white minority also like a giant in the land. But guess what? Pinling conquered.
Yes, he overcame it.
He overcame it. And guess what? We are doing the same thing. We might be David, but listen here. In the physical realm, David can't punch out the giants. But in the spiritual realm, boy, look here. My God can do anything he wants to do. And so I have
time has come for it, you know.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
God can't be pleased with what's going on there. I mean, he cannot be pleased. I know that. He can't be pleased.
Yeah.
There are too many things that's happening totally untoward.
Yeah.
I mean, the corruption and everything else, you know,
Yeah.
he's got to do something. And I mean, he's waiting on us to do something. The people have got to do something.
Well, yeah, I think it's no doubt the mindset of our people have to change. And I believe, I pray to God every day. I ask him to change the mindset of the people. That's he's the one who can do that for us. We can educate them, but I think it's going to be God who's going to change the mindset of the people.
So when you look at this whole matter, you know, we've been talking about corruption and all that kind of stuff, but there's this whole thing about immigration and all that. And this is something very, very big and profound, because everybody knows that if people don't make a move right now to protect the Bahamian nation and the nationalities of the Bahamians, some other people can take this country from us. There's no question in my mind about that at this time. And I'm saying, you got to understand that the governments, all governments, including the COI and everybody else, must take a sober and serious look at this whole immigration situation that is for us. And nobody wants to take any look at this. Now, of course, Lincoln Bean and them have been taking the most serious look at the whole matter. And they want to get rid of this whole matter. But here it is, the FNM has not looked at it. The PLP is not looked at it. And that is to their detriment, because at the end of the day, this is why I'm believing now that what the prophet has been saying so much, that something is going to happen to us.
Exactly. So it seems like, the PLP has an agenda. And the problem that they have, that they don't understand, is that they are not accountable to the people and transparent. Remember when we put to them, how many people are getting passports? How many people have permits? How many people are becoming a citizen? Every question that we ask, Steve, we have not gotten an answer yet. And I feel as if the government needs to understand that they are servants of the people. You are there to serve us. The way I see it is that they want us to serve them. They got it backwards. They got it all wrong. Absolutely. And so, no. You know, even the director or the deputy director of immigration, I believe that she was asked to, be at home with pay. Couture was the director.
Oh.
Yeah, but the deputy director, I understand, is still at home, waiting for some assessment, and she's getting paid by the government of the day, by the people, and she's not performing in her duty. Why do they have this very intelligent woman sitting on the sidelines doing nothing? Only so that she doesn't get in their way for them to do their bidding. They need to get that straight, and the people are listening, the people are watching, and I want accountability.
People are going to judge them. They're going to be judged by the people. There's no question in my mind about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I heard it's worse there since Keith Bell left. I mean, that was the report I was getting, but
Anyway.
Wow, is this a serious thing?
Hard copy, how you doing today?
Good afternoon, Steve. Good afternoon, Ms. McIver. How are you guys?
Good afternoon.
All is well, sir.
I'm actually a very, very long time listener. I've since left the country about 7 years ago.
Okay.
But I've been, keeping up to date with the news and the politics that's been going on in the country. And I've been noticing the movement of the COI. Bear in mind, I for a very long time have been a follower of the Free National Movement, but
Yes.
within the last 4 years or so, I've really been paying some close attention to the COI, and I can only say that for this next upcoming election, this is the party that I definitely would like to give all of my support to, simply because I like the way and the style and the direction that they're heading in. It seems as if, or I'd say obvious, as if they've moved away from what the status quo has always been. I can see the will and the need to want to empower the humans, and if most of our leaders, the ones who travel, I'm sure that our leaders, they travel on a regular basis, and they see the different systems that the other countries have, and they see how effective they are. And it just boggles my mind to try and understand, why aren't we trying to find a way to implement, some of these systems. Just for instance, I'll give an example of the public transportation system.
Yes.
Here in Toronto, Canada, there are situations sometimes where, you may have a delay with the subway or the buses, but as far as schedule is concerned, as far as staffing is concerned, as far as reliability and safety is concerned, you don't run into those issues that you run into. The public servants, the bus drivers and the transit workers, they're highly paid, they're well compensated, and they're happy to do a job. And I just want to applaud the COI for the direction that they're moving in, empowering the human. So that's just my contribution that I'd like to add.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You want a question?
No, I'd just like to thank him for his support. Thank you. We're not going to disappoint you, sir.
Thank you.
All the best now. Yeah, so that's somebody who
People listen. People are listening. And Steve, I can say a lot of third parties have gone before us.
Mm-hmm.
In 1 year, there might have been 24, 25 third parties. But I feel as if no one is as organized as we are.
Yeah,
and
you
we are
are
certainly
organized bunch.
making right. And with God on our side, we will prevail. And like I said, this is a new dispensation. It's been prophesied. So I'm gonna, like my leader, Mr. Bain says, we at war now. And so I'm learning I'm learning the art of war.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's fantastic. It's 7:00. Just
okay.
Like that.
All right. Time that went by fast.
Yeah. So that's how it is sometimes. But you can never get enough in on a 1 hour show. So that's why we do a 2 hour show. You see.
Yes.
But we're gonna get you back here.
Yes.
Sometime soon, because I know you've got all kinds of good ideas. I'm willing to take a look at all those ideas that you've got, because they seem to be very, very good ideas. And I like your ideas about how you're going to maneuver some things around and change some things around to make sure that we are in the right place at the right time, doing the right things for the right people, the Haymans, who we want to make sure that they can be taken care of.
Yes.
So I want to thank you very much, Dr. McIver.
Thank you for having me, Steve.
And anytime we'll bring you back and do it all over again. All right?
No problem.
My pleasure. Well, I got this fella. He's going to call me now. Let me just take this call. This is the last call. I'll say hello to him. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Steve. How you doing?
Yes, sir. I'm here. How you been?
Good afternoon, Ms. McIver. How are you?
Good afternoon to you.
Good. Yeah.
Go on, man.
I call in the state to the Bahamian people.
Peaceful.
Is to make up in the country, go to the polls, and do the right thing. Don't vote for the red. Do not vote for the yellow or the orange. Do the right thing.
All right.
The light is shining at the end of the tunnel.
I get you, brother.
Try to see the light.
Appreciate
Glad to
it.
see that light.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve, for taking my call.
All the best. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for your contribution. And you're right. The red and the yellow are two sides of the same coin.
And that's not a good picture, right?
No, two sides of the same coin. They're identical almost.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good afternoon, caller. How are you?
Hi, Steve. How you doing?
Very good, thanks.
All right. So I was listening to the show today, and I'm very happy of what I'm hearing from the Bahamian people, because the people that finally realize that these two parties have just been playing yo-yo with us, and we deserve so much more, so much more. And when they release those candidates, it actually sets a precedence that this party isn't going anywhere, and we are not going to sell like the third parties that went before us. And we are about to make an example of what it is that we need to do to take this country to the heights. If you notice that we need more transparency, the PLP chairman, their blueprint for change, he said he dismissed everything. They asked for the Freedom of Information Act. Oh, it's no longer on the agenda. It's no longer on the agenda. How about campaign reform? Oh, well, that also isn't on the agenda. So what is on the agenda? So it's clear that this blueprint for change and these manifestos that they put forward is just to sway the people to get into parliament. But when they get in, they don't do what they promise they're going to do.
Well, it's up to you.
I want the Bahamian people to be very focused on that. Okay?
I appreciate it.
They are selling you dreams just to get there. And when they get there, they don't do it.
They can't remember. They don't recall.
Don't recall.
Thank you very kindly for your call.
Don't recall.
Yeah, they can't recall. That's a serious thing. And that's what the fella said in the commission of inquiry. Mr. I don't recall. I just don't recall. Those of you listening in don't know what I'm talking about. If you're young, if you're only 20, you don't know what I'm talking about.
If they're under 20 or
Yeah.
under 30, they wouldn't know what you're talking about.
I'm Coffee. How are you? Peace and love. All is well.
Yeah, I'm just calling to say that we were talking about the hospital that they're building now.
Yes.
If you think back a few months ago, they were talking about the stem cell therapy, and they passed it on.
And they're also talking about that now again. They talk about stem cell again.
Yes,
Go ahead, I'm listening.
And they're talking about the hospital being a glorified clinic, right? They said specialty clinic, specialty hospital. And stem cells basically come from babies, right? I mean, they use it for
Yes.
and from the afterward and all that different stuff. So
Yes.
it's just something to think about, that this hospital is not really for the David people. It's basically to do stem cell research.
That's an idea. We got to investigate
So,
that.
you know, that's my point of view on it. So, like you say, yeah, you have to investigate that. So,
Thank you very kindly. Yeah,
nice.
appreciate it. All the best. Yeah, you got to investigate that, Dr. McIver, because he may be right. See, a lot of times the public says things to people all the time on the show, and people just say, don't worry about it. That ain't so. But they don't even know. I remember when we were doing the whole thing on COVID, right? Black male and I, same fellow who does the whole thing.
Yes, on immigration.
on immigration and the Constitution, right?
Yeah.
When we were talking about it, everybody said, you all two fellas, you all crazy, you know. I tell you, stay off this radio. And guess what? We were dead right.
Yes,
We
you
were
were.
dead right. We're still right.
Yes.
The people still getting COVID. All these things are still happening. But when it happened, when it began to happen, they were like, black male, you ain't know what you're talking about. You ain't know what you're talking about, Steve. You all everything. Man, what you're saying, man. Oh, man.
Yes.
We can take the shot. We can take the shot. I said,
Yes.
don't take that shot. The only other person who was with me on that whole matter was a fellow by the name of Paul Moss.
Yes.
Paul Moss.
Yes.
A lawyer.
From Freeport, right?
Yeah. No, Paul's right there.
He's right here in
Nassau. He
Nassau.
was like, no, boy, I ain't taking no shot. You can't improve on God's body. See, and these are some things, these are things that people understood.
Yeah.
But people were slow in getting it. And they all gone to take the shot.
Yeah.
And some of them didn't make the shot. See, you got to understand, when you hear the people like that, said something just now, right? That sounds like a little trite thing. But he may be right. If we investigate,
he may be
if we
onto
look into
something. He may be onto something.
You'll find something right there. You never know.
That's right. And that's
It's worth
it.
checking
I
out.
understand there's a big industry in that.
You understand
So
what
I'm not
saying?
saying that that's what we're doing, but there is a big industry in that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you being here. Again,
Okay.
7 minutes behind the hour. Dr. McIver, we'll see you
Yes.
soon, right?
You have a wonderful afternoon, Steve, and you always have a wonderful show. A lot of people listen to you, and they still hold you in very high esteem.
Well, that's good. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, God is going to richly bless you
God
for
is good to me.
giving your message to the people and bringing about change in this country.
Thank you so kind.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All the best. Here we go. That's our show for today right here on Hard Copy. It's been a pleasure of mine to have Dr. McIver on today. She's in charge now. Well, not in charge yet, but she's aiming to be in charge of this whole thing called health, wellness, and the hospital and everything else, and even the ambulance drivers. That's just a hint, because we'll see what actually happens. And of course, she was the one who brought you that prophecy just now through the eyes of some other people. They're looking at this whole thing when the Reinhardt Hotel fell and collapsed. That's a serious thing. Keep it in mind. Don't put it out of your mind. Let it stay in your mind because something is significant is happening. We can feel it. And we thank you so much for being a part of the show. We'll be back here tomorrow, God's willing, at 5 o'clock. Don't forget, join me at that particular time, and we'll see you then.